Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews so I can deliver my best to your inbox on a daily basis. And if you like our watches, they are all for sale 24 hours a day on our website, thewatchbox.com. See nearly 2,000 pre-owned and vintage timepieces, and you can even buy, trade, and sell through the Watchbox simultaneously. Build up your collection, pare down your collection, or simply find a new flame. See it all and buy it all on thewatchbox.com. And the watch on my wrist today is a legend. The first of the Luminor 1950 cases back in 2002. This 1,950 piece limited edition was a big deal. It remains a big deal on the wrist. This is the Panerai Luminor 1950 PAM00127, better known as the Fiddy. 47 millimeters with the 1950 case profile. You can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. This was the first of the 1950 cases and the first of the 47 millimeter civilian Luminor. So the watch was both different in shape and distinct in size from the original 40 and 44 millimeter Panerai case Luminor. Now the reason it's called the 1950 is for historical reasons, some apocryphal, some sincere. This is the shape that had more or less materialized by 1950. Refinements to the case, refinements to the crown guard, refinements to the lugs, no longer wire welded on, had changed the look of the original Panerai 3646, such that by 1950 we were beginning to see a watch, the reference 6152, that looked like the modern Panerai Luminor, and more specifically like the watch on my wrist, the Luminor 1950. Now 47 millimeters on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist means that the style is oversized, and you have to like the look of a big watch on your wrist. Unless you have a truly huge lumberjack forearm, the watch is always going to dwarf your physical anatomy. So if you like the look of a big watch, something like an IWC Big Pilot, a Rolex Deep Sea Sea Dweller, you're gonna love this. That said, the watch does have better ergonomic qualities than those two. It's thick, to be sure. Make no mistake, towering above the wrist at 17.3 millimeters. This is not going to fit underneath a dress cuff, but it should fit underneath a jacket cuff, because you'll note it is dramatically sloped in profile, and that will help a jacket or a loose sweater to ramp up over its side. All in steel, it is hefty and it's broad. 57.4 millimeters lug-to-lug. It does put the watch in that size class that's pretty much the exclusive domain of the Rolex Deep Sea and the Big Pilot from IWC. So the watch, nevertheless, has a wonderfully regular case back. You can see it's very flat, highly uniform, creates no pressure points or hot spots. Also, because the lugs are nice and short cropped, the watch wears more like a cushion. Think of it as a 47 millimeter square watch, and you've got a better idea of how it fits and feels on the wrist. You'll also note that the strap itself is a handsome piece, but you will have many accessory options. 26 millimeter lug spacing on the original Luminor 1950, and you can see that traditional Panerai sizing screws are used for removing the strap, as the original Panerais did not use spring bars, nor did they use a quick release system. So if you're already set up to swap straps on a traditional Panerai, you're going to be good to go here. That said, the Assolutamente is a beautiful, minimally treated calfskin strap. Almost has a little bit of a rusticated, untreated look to it. A light contrasting stitch, oversized steel satin finished Panerai trapezoidal pin buckle for quick adjustments. The case is surprisingly subdued. Now, one of the qualities of the 1950 is that it isn't the tuna can profile of the original Panerai case. That is to say, it's not the size or the shape of the watch that came out in 1993 with the first civilian Panerai. It's actually a bit more fluid. It's sexier. The watch that's more historically accurate is also more handsome than the modern Panerai case. And you'll note the device protecting the crown is present and correct. The locking lever is inverted, but in every other respect, this is the iconic shape. You know what it is from across the room. It's the kind of watch that's recognizable as a silhouette alone. That said, the locking crown guard does have practical functions. First, it's hard to jump into the water with your crown unlocked. You can easily miss a few threaded turns of a screw-down crown. This is like your red flag. If you want to go diver down, push it down. Moreover, with all aspect protection, you get a lot more protection of the stem and the stem tube than you would get with a shouldered crown guard. And finally, with your hands wet, sweaty, or gloved, you can easily pop that lever up. Now you can wind the watch without having to thread out the crown, and you can set the watch without having to thread out the crown. Both of these are original advantages envisioned by the designers of this system in the late 1940s. So practical then, practical now. It remains both distinctive and functional. The dial is sensational. It's a Marina type. Of course, the watch isn't coy about its identity, as 1950 is blazing at 6 o'clock. It's a black base matte with a stencil style, and we can get real close now and give ourselves a bit more aperture and light, but with a stencil style Panerai sandwich dial construction, which is to say there is a stencil featuring all of the indices and numerals, and then underneath a solid loomed disc, so the watch has a wild loom shot, as well as a bit of a three-dimensional loom shot when the lights go down. You'll also note, because it's a Marina, it has small seconds at 9 o'clock, which also means that these rose gold hands are propelled by a COSC chronometer certified Panerai caliber OP11. The nice thing about the Marina dial ETA powered Panerai is that by adding a seconds hand, Panerai was able to get a chronometer certification for these movements. The Bosse two-hand models cannot receive a chronometer certificate. Here you have that refinement among many others. A proper 37mm plus movement that's sized properly for the case itself. It takes after the great Rolex and Angelus clock and pocket watch movements that were used in the original Panerai combat watches. The idea was always to have a pocket watch sized movement that was appropriate to the size of the case, and that continues. Manufacturer calibers have never been a Panerai tradition, but pocket watch movements absolutely are, and you can see this one's beautifully elaborated. Oversized balance, almost 1/3 the diameter of the movement. It's a big, slow-beating 21,600 vibration per hour balance with a black polished swan's neck regulator, blued screws. You can see the Panerai crest across all of the bridges, a gorgeous radial dressage or satin grain on the crown wheel and ratchet wheel. This is a handsome movement. To be sure, mechanically finished, but nicely executed, thoughtfully elaborated, and unlike the original ETA 6497 on which it's based, the 6497 being neither a chronometer nor a 21,600 beat movement, this is a highly refined caliber that also adds a 56-hour power reserve compared to the 42 of the ETA base. Now, thanks to the screwed-in caseback and that screw-down crown, the watch is water-resistant. Let's give ourselves some more aperture here. It's downright dingy in here. But the watch has 100-meter water resistance, so this one's relatively robust. You can take it playing, you can take it for fun in the sun. Unlike many historically themed Luminor and Rodium models, this one actually has a sapphire, not a plexiglass. The sapphire has been domed to give the aesthetic of a plexiglass, but it doesn't actually have the vulnerabilities to scratching and scuffing that a thermoplastic crystal would bring. You can see this 2002 limited edition, a living legend, and own one of the 1,950 pieces of the PAM00127 on our website. And we're back with the Panerai Luminor 1950 PAM00127. As you can see, you even get a little bit of that off-axis distortion from the bubble-shaped sapphire in the dark. Legible in any light, iconic in any company. You can see and you can purchase this PAM00127 on our website.